In this video, I'm going to be giving my final opinions and my verdict on the botanium system, and particularly how it pertains to growing chili plants. So this video I'm going to break down into the positives, the negatives, and also probably some suggestions that I would make to improve this system. Firstly, the positives. Most of them I've already gone through with you in previous videos about the botanium system. And the first thing and the main thing is it looks good. It's a good looking system. It wouldn't look out of place in a modern home. This one, however, you can see I have some problems here. This is salt buildup. And I'll go over this, why this is happening in the negative section of this. So the positives, it looks good. The pump that's down the bottom here is still working the same as it did the day that I got it. So that's impressive, especially considering the salt buildup here. I would think that the pump would also have some salt buildup, but it's running as it did, like I said, when I got this. So that's good. The positives are pretty much going to end there. Let's talk about some of the negatives, and bear in mind the negatives are based on, well, number one, my opinion, number two, on me growing chili plants. Chili plants are probably not ideal for the system unless you can get some really good sunlight. I am using a LED lamp on this because I don't get a lot of sunlight, especially this time of year, that is going to be hitting this plant. But regardless, even without that light and the fact that I am using the LED, I have got some ripe peppers. We get a lot of flower drop and leaf drop, but we have got some ripe peppers coming through. Not a lot. I'm sure we get a lot more if this was done in my systems outside and we had some sunlight on it, but that's not the point of the system. I'm not trying to get big harvests from this. This is just to have a nice pretty plant in the house. So onto the negatives a bit more. Firstly, you can see this thing is slanting outwards like this. The reason for that is you can't control how frequently this thing waters. You plug it into the wall and the pump will start. Then it will go again. I think, I can't actually figure out the timings. I think it's every 2 hours, but you can't change that. Now, the whole point of, you know, the seasons is the amount of light you get, the amount of warmth you get is going to change throughout the season. If you keep on watering it as if it's got plenty of light, plenty of warmth, then there's going to be too much water, especially for chili plants. Chili plants, I'm sure if you grow your own chili plants, and if you've watched some of my other videos, my beginner's guide, etc., you would know that overwatering chili plants is one of the biggest mistakes most beginners make. This is making the same mistake, especially now it's colder weather. And what happens is you're overwatering it. These roots are not going to spread as much, which is why this has fallen over. I had to give it some support. It seems to have stopped moving now, but the same thing has happened with some of these that I bought for our office. So my normal job, we have a few of these in the office. We've had to put supports in there because these things were just falling over. It's not a problem in the summertime, because in the summertime these things will be soaking up all the water that it can, all the liquid. But in the wintertime, and when there's not enough warmth, then if this is constantly being watered, the roots have no reason to go and spread and move down, which means you're not going to get as much support. So that's the big problem, and probably one of the biggest things I would change about this. There needs to be a timer on here, or even just a rheostat that sets the timing. Put it in line, put it on the cable itself, and just have a little knob that can change it, you know, from 2 hours to probably 4 hours at the moment, or even 5 hours. I'd definitely have a much bigger range of timings. The other problem with that, when you talk about timings, is plants, they don't need to be watered at night time. This thing is just watering all the time. It doesn't stop at night. So I'll probably put a light sensor on here as well that would detect whether the lights are off, and I wouldn't water during that period of time. So that pretty much brings me to what I've done when I built my own mini hydroponic system, which has worked fantastically this year. and that has a light sensor, that has a timer that you can change, and it's just a far better solution. I haven't grown normal flowers or anything with this, and maybe it'll work far better for that situation, but for growing vegetables, growing chili plants, where the demands change throughout the year, unfortunately, I don't know if I can recommend this. It is unfortunate because it is a pretty device, and I think there definitely is a market for something like this, but a little bit of work needs to be done. Now, I will try and show you what's going on in here. So let me take this top off, and I'll show you why we have this build up. So, okay, if we have a look in here, you can just about make it out on the camera. There is the hole over there which the liquid will pump up into this and water the plant. There is meant to be a little rubber seal in there. It's just a little rubber ring. The problem is it's not really secured in there. So the first time I washed this thing out, you'd want to rinse this out, you don't want the buildup of salts. But the first time I rinsed it out, I tipped the thing over and the rubber ring went down the sink. I wouldn't have thought that it would be as big a problem as it is, but basically it causes liquid to be pumped around here as well because the rubber seal's gone. I have replaced that seal a couple times. I just stopped doing it because it just got a bit of a pain. So I ended up just putting a plate underneath to catch any of the liquid. As I said, I'm probably not going to be using this anymore, so I might take it into work, or I don't know, maybe dismantle it, maybe see if I can do something with it to actually add on the changes that I want to add, or that I would assume would need to be added to this to make it a bit more efficient. So that might be a project for next year, we'll see. But it's not a bad system. I love the idea of it. It just needs a little bit more work, I think, especially if we are focusing on chili plants like obviously I do. So let's have a look around here. We can see quite a lot of flowers. I did have an infestation of aphids at some point this year, but that's gone. I've got rid of that, thankfully. And we can see some ripe little peppers. Before I sign off, I just want to say one other thing. This lamp here, this is also provided by the Botanium guys, and it's okay. It does a decent enough job. It's not going to give you massive harvests. There's no competition to some of the proper grow lights out there, but it has kept this plant alive for the last few months that we've had no sunshine coming through that window. The problem is when I switch this on in the morning, see, it's fine now once it's warmed up, but it started recently. When I switch it on in the morning, it's flickering, or sometimes it doesn't even switch on, and the flickering does go away. Like you can see, if I switch that back on, it's actually okay now, but I think it's something to do with it being warmed up. I'm not sure of the quality of this particularly, and I don't think it's really cheap, but it does give me worry. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. I doubt it'll get through another season. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out as well if you are considering buying this as a grow lamp. But yeah, I feel bad being negative about these things. These were given to me for free by the Botanium guys, but I have to be honest with you and make recommendations based on things I would actually use, things I would actually buy. Personally, I wouldn't buy this myself. Again, I actually have bought some of these Botaniums for work, 4 of them, 5 of them. Didn't buy any lamps, but we did buy those, and they're having very similar problems. Hopefully I can show some pictures up on the screen. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again very soon, and until then, stay spicy.